All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm so grateful to have each and every one of you here. It's so fun to be able to invest my time with you. Today, I want to talk about something that's made a big, huge impact in my life and the freedom that I've been able to experience, as well as my lifestyle with my family. And so I wanted to share that with you. The idea of collecting digital rent is such a wonderful option for people that are looking for the ability to be able to run a business either as their primary source of income or as a side hustle and do it from anywhere in the world. And that's because instead of buying property, you get to build something that's more of like a digital asset, right? There's two ways that we can acquire assets in life, and assets are things that can pay us every month, right? Liabilities are things that take money away every month. So we want to acquire as many assets as we can, and we can build them or we can buy them. But what's so fun about digital rent is you don't have to buy any real estate in order to collect monthly income. And you can do that through a system that I've been able to utilize for a long time called service-based arbitrage. And it works really, really well. The way that it's kind of structured is you're connecting the dots between a business that needs some marketing and a team that can do the work. And you're kind of the middleman, but you get to collect the lion's share, right, of what's actually being made. So people that go through my program, I want them collecting anywhere from about 50 to 95% margins on a recurring basis. And those clients or students get paid for making the connection happen without doing the labor, right, on their end. And so it's a lot of fun. And why this might be a better option for people than going the traditional real estate or traditional rent kind of avenue is because there's no down payment on big, huge capital down payment on real estate that's required. There's no mortgage, right? So that eliminates a very large percentage of the risk that people experience in real estate type businesses. Is they've got this mortgage, and if they have renters that move away, then they're responsible for the mortgage. The cool thing about digital rent or service-based arbitrage is if you've got a client that you're providing marketing for and you've outsourced the work to somebody else, what's so nice is if that client leaves after a year or 2 years or whenever they leave or however long they choose to stay, there's no mortgage that you're required to pay, right? So there's no debt obligation on your end, which is nice. Whereas if you were renting out property, usually you're going to be in a 15 to 30-year mortgage, more often a 30-year mortgage, and that's going to be something that you're required to pay until you can find more renters, right? There's no property maintenance, which is really nice. When people purchase real estate, they've got to constantly be worrying about repairs and making sure that tenants aren't destroying things. There's no problems that way. And if there are problems caused by tenants, then the owner of the property has to do a bunch of rehab, right? Which costs a bunch of money, which can eat away cash flow and can cannibalize the money that's coming into the business. And so this is just such a wonderful opportunity because it's a hustle that only requires really your phone and a laptop, which is awesome. And it's exciting because utilizing a service-based arbitrage type business to collect digital rent, it's scalable from day one. You can go from $0 to cash flowing in days instead of months. Um, it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. You can onboard clients before you even have a huge team, as long as you've got basically quote unquote subcontractors. I call them pocket sized partners to do the heavy lifting. Then you can outsource the work. And that way, every single month, you're collecting a check, providing a small chunk of that check to the people doing the heavy lifting. And you can be anywhere in the world while you're collecting money, right? So it's a lot of fun. Um, the other thing that's exciting about this type of business model, digital rent, is there's very low overhead and insanely high margins, right? So, in a lot of businesses, you've got all of these capital intensive costs that you constantly need to be worried about that can just increase your risk in the business. What you want to do whenever you're running a company, especially if you're trying to bootstrap or do it in the smartest, most efficient way, is lower overhead and increase margins, right? So again, unlike real estate, there's no property tax, there's no repairs, there's no risk of vacancy. If a client leaves, you can just replace them. But if they do leave, there's no risk of having to have a debt obligation in place. That right where vacancy in real estate is if they leave, again, you're going to be paying. So this eliminates that challenge for people in business. Most of your costs in the company really kick in after you've acquired a client, and it's because you're following something I call the $0 framework, where money comes into the business. After money comes in, you provide value for the client by outsourcing the work. So again, let's say that $2,000 a month is coming in. What you could do is you could outsource some of the work for $500, and you'd be pocketing $1,500, which is really exciting. $500 to people, the pocket-sized partners or subcontractors doing the work. You're collecting $1,500 a month without having to do the heavy lifting, and your client is being taken care of. And if you can repeat that, then you could be in a really, really great financial position. Super cool to think of it that way. That's a hypothetical situation. You can charge more than that if you wanted. You could charge less than that. In your business, you get to decide, which is fun. So what's cool too is you're the business owner. You're not the actual service provider. If you don't want to be, you can be. I tend to be a bit of a nerd, and so I like to run ads. I like to kind of get into the weeds, but you don't have to do that. You can outsource that work even in your own company. You could have somebody build your website. You could have somebody run your ads. You could have somebody do whatever you would like, so that really you can invest your time with the people you love, doing the things that you enjoy the most, and not have to be caught up in the thick of thin things. It's awesome. You really get to build systems instead of schedules, right? You're not trading your time for money anymore. And once a client is onboarded in your fulfillment team, the people doing the work, once they're in place, your job just becomes kind of managing the relationships from that point. It's awesome. One of the things that's cool about recurring revenue, which I love, I've used recurring revenue, that type of model in multiple companies that I own, and it's a wonderful opportunity because it provides predictable income, right? If you have to constantly depend on sales coming in every single month, it's not as predictable and not as relaxing. And so there's a lot more peace of mind if you are able to create a business where you've got a recurring income stream and you can build that and grow that as time goes on. And service-based arbitrage, the idea of collecting digital rent, is something that certainly provides that option. Um, the real flex, I think, right now in people's lives is freedom. It's time freedom, right? Money comes and goes. It's not that hard to acquire money, but time is so much different, because once a second, a minute, an hour, a day, a week has passed, it's gone. We can never get it back. We haven't really mastered the idea of time travel yet. It wouldn't surprise me if over my lifetime we are able to figure that out, but we don't have the ability to be able to um, capture time or go back in time. And so that means that since time is a finite resource, it's the law of supply and demand, right? There's a high demand for time because it's what means the most to us, and there's a relatively short supply, right? And that increases the price, what it's worth to us. And so it's really important that we're able to optimize our time, figure out ways to make sure that we're able to capitalize on investing our time with the people that we love and doing the things that we enjoy the most. And so predictable income is equal to peace of mind, right? Uh, it's exciting as well, just because without tenants, right? Again, without the idea of hard asset real estate, and instead substituting that for digital rent using service-based arbitrage, there's no tenants, there's no toilets, it's just tech. And you don't have to be a techie person to really understand this. You just need to have people that can do the work for you. So instead of fixing, leaky sinks, you're able to fix a leaky sales funnel or something like that. And that's much, much less, um, stressful in most cases, which is awesome. And so if this is something that you feel like could be meaningful for you, I mean, please let me know what else I could teach you. I'd love to be able to provide free guidance on this through the podcast or my YouTube channel, or you're welcome to book a call with my team. You can go to ditchthedesks.com, book a call with one of our team members, and would love to be able to serve you or answer questions. I hope this was meaningful, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll see you in our next episode.